The O2F Football Podcast. The voices of tomorrow, here today.
Hey guys, welcome back to the O2F Football Podcast. I'm Nathan, and today we're talking about all of football's top superstars and what their future holds. As usual, I'm joined by Ollie and Kieran. So firstly, how are you guys getting on?
Better than I expected to be, considering the 3-1 loss to Leicester. But you know, I feel like Man United, in a way, it could be a blessing in disguise. We're not going to talk about massives about it, but I feel like it could be in the way that I know we just beat Man City, and I'm pretty sure the last time we played, I think when we played Chelsea, it was a dull 0-0 draw. So kind of the hardest two teams left in it, we kind of have got a bit of a track record against in the last couple of games. But they look like different teams, I feel like now. I can't see United beating Man City twice. I can't see us, beating Tuchel, who's on 14 games or whatever, unbeaten. So I feel like we're never going to win the tournament. And, we're still in Europa and we're still in the Premier League, still want to get that second place. So it gives us that sort of respite to kind of get those two, get the other, focus our attention elsewhere. But yeah, it's not the easiest one to take. But like I said, I can see positives in it. I'm trying to take the positives. The positives.
You have to win the Europa League now. You can't be going on.
Oh yeah, no. If we
second place, that's not good enough.
If we drop out the Europa League now, I'm going to be crying about the Leicester defeat. But for the moment, it could be a positive. Keeping up.
A positive weekend for you. For you, Kieran, with Tottenham getting their first win in a while. We won't talk about the Europa League.
What do you mean in a while? We had two games.
Feels like it was ages
and they were just quite bad. That's all everyone remembers. Before, do you know what? Actually, in the last 5 league games we've played, we've won 4, which is like the best form. Like one of the best. So, people just. I don't want to say overreact because it was absolutely humiliating. But it's all right. We move international break, 3 points off the back of it, and similar to what Ollie said, could be a blessing in disguise. 3 points off top 4. All it takes is one team to mess up. We haven't got that horrible Thursday-Sunday schedule anymore. So, fingers crossed. Jose's tricky whites can
you said it,
Champions League football.
You said it's been a bit more upbeat for Tottenham in the last couple of days. It's been upbeat for them for a while. I mean, Joe Hart seemed to be well happy after their defeat. So, everyone's been happy.
Wow.
Oh, that's a good one, actually. Because I remember Ollie smiling in his post-match interview. There's a perfect screenshot where he's just smiling after losing 3-1. Outplayed by Leicester.
I thought you were about me then. I thought you were about me smiling. I was like, post-match interview.
To answer your question, though, I'm good.
Right, perfect. Today we're going to be talking about, as I said, all things football superstars, so Messi, Ronaldo, Haaland, and kind of what their future holds, because they're in a bit of a different position to probably what they were a few years back. So let's get into it.
Right, so to kick things off, I guess we'll start with the one out of the 3 that Nathan mentioned, who is seemingly destined for a move elsewhere. Someone with certainly age on his side, which is Erling Haaland. Currently at Borussia Dortmund, absolutely tearing up that league. Basically got them into the next round of the Champions League. Scored both goals in their draw at the weekend. But what he also did in that game was storm off at full time, taking his shirt off, and he didn't look too pleased. I don't want to read too much into that as a sign of he wants to leave immediately. But Ollie, I mean, surely soon, this summer or the following summer, Haaland's on his way elsewhere.
I mean, I heard he went down the tunnel, got on the planes heading to Manchester. Hopefully for United. No, I'd say he looks like he's got to be going to, if it's the Premier League, then Chelsea or either Manchester club. I know Chelsea has been in the headlines a couple of weeks back that they were the club to get him. And I'm pretty sure, didn't they only come out and say that he's their number 1 signing, that he's going to do everything he can to get them? I mean, anyone should. He's a world-class player. He's going to be probably the best player in the world. And if you're saying to me, him or Mbappe, I'd pick Haaland just because of the sort of player that he is. I just think he's better. And I think he's more needed for Manchester United. So, yeah, I mean, for me, he looks like the ideal replacement for Aguero. He's kind of that strong presence. He's kind of got that clinical finishing, and he's got pace, which Aguero kind of always had before he got injured. I know he's died off in pace recently because he's got older, but I mean, he kind of seems like the ideal. But I mean, Sky Sports I saw yesterday were on about Man City getting Danny Ings or whatever. So, I mean, I'm not really sure if they would get both of them. So I hope they buy Ings, because then that'll be one less suitor kind of for Haaland. But for Chelsea, I'll do Man United last. But for Chelsea, I kind of feel like he's the combination of, I know that he's way better than this, but he is kind of the combination the sort of ability he's got of Giroud and Abraham mixed. He's got the aerial presence and the strength of Giroud and the sort of the pace that Abraham kind of has. So he's kind of the sort of the striker that I feel like they could need. I feel like all these teams need Haaland in one way or another, but Man United, he's worked with Ole Gunnar Solskjaer before. I know, obviously, his dad played for Man City, so it's a bit, what's going to happen there. But United need him. I feel like United are begging for him, especially if Cavani goes. We need someone in the box. I said a couple of weeks back how Martial doesn't stay in the box enough. And I'm pretty sure it was one point in the Leicester game where we were on the attack. There was not a single person in the box. We got it out wide. We looked like we need to get in the box, and there wasn't anyone there. I know Cavani's done that more. And he's done it, but he's just too old. And if he does leave, he's been great. He's been great. I'm not going to say that, but I mean, and I said he would do well, Cavani, but he's too injury prone. He's clearly, age is getting the better of him, and his dad linked him away. So I really want him to go to United, and I'm pretty sure he's not even that expensive with his buyout clause, isn't it? Is it 60-something million or something? I could be completely off base there, but I mean,
I think it's something like that. I can't fully remember, but just look out. But
so an absolute bargain. Absolute bargain. If it's 65 million pounds, I think it's something around that area. That's an absolute bargain in modern day football. I know coronavirus obviously is going to lower the prices for certain players, but yeah, I honestly think he will leave this summer, and I think he will go to Man City, Man United, or Chelsea. I feel like the Premier League
75 million active next year.
Still a bargain, whatever it is. So yeah, I mean, I'd love for him to go to Manchester United, and I don't know why. I'm feeling quietly confident. And I don't know if it's because, obviously, I know it's a big jump to say he's going to join because Ollie's coached him before. But I know Ollie, and I know he said in the interview that he keeps in contact with him regularly. And I think, connections in football is a massive bonus when you go in for players. And I mean, I think Man United being second place, I feel like it might be quite appealing to him to come into a club and be sort of the main person to build a team around. I think he might quite like that. So you never know. But if we don't get him, then we have to get Sancho or someone else of that talent to move the club going forward. But yeah, it'll be an interesting one.
I think with Haaland, it's interesting because football-wise, Man United probably is the most viable move for him. I could see him going Chelsea, but Manchester United seems most viable move. But I don't know Haaland, none of us do. But like morally, his dad, he's a massive Leeds fan. His dad is a Man City player whose career was ended at Old Trafford by a Manchester United player. So does he want to move to Man United? I mean, I don't know how much that applies in football, kind of that personal feeling towards teams. If we're not going to talk about English, I can see him going to Real Madrid. I mean, Real Madrid have always had a sort of star-heavy recruitment style. It's the Galacticos. They've always wanted to bring big players in. And Haaland fits that bill. I don't think they've ever really thought too much about, we've got this player here, we've got this player, we've got Benzema, we've got so on and so forth. Because they just want the big stars. And Haaland, I mean, is there a bigger star than him coming up in young football in terms of someone that not only stands out on the pitch, but stands out off the pitch in terms of just how, without being rude, how weird he is with like his interviews and how quietly kind of charismatic he is. The whole stuff with the Sevilla stuff. I mean, he is not just a footballer; he's also a very big character, and that's, I think that says a lot for his potential, not just in football but in marketing. So I can see him going Real Madrid, to be honest, if he's not going to go to a Man United or Chelsea. I mean, Real Madrid, I don't know. Again, I don't know the financial situation, but I'm sure they can afford 75 million, especially if they offload like one or two sort of fringe players. I'm not sure what you think, Kieran, of Haaland's future, but I could definitely see him up in Spain.
I mean, the man is a goal-scoring machine. There's no doubt about that. In terms of the likelihoods of those moves, you think of the United one, and you think of previous occasions where it's been a bit. It's sometimes a club, when it comes to spending money, run like a business. And we can talk till the cows come home about the Glazers and everything they've done and the lack of ambition from above. And I think that definitely holds Man United back in terms of buying big players. Jadon Sancho, prime example. It looked destined to happen, and it didn't. Man City, from what I remember, entered the Ruben Dias negotiations about 3 days before they signed him. They've just got that ability to go, how much do you want? Done. How much do you want to be paid? Done. And, I think that pull of it as well is huge. You look at that Man City squad already, and kind of the only place where you think, yeah, you definitely needed some sort of improvement there is a main centre forward. Aguero's struggling with injuries, and I can see maybe him kind of running his contract down and possibly going back to Argentina, where he's closer to home maybe, because I remember in the documentary he says it sometimes gets quite lonely over there, and I imagine it's been quite bad for him when he's not playing either. Gabriel Jesus is someone who Guardiola trusts, no doubt. Names, it's De Bruyne or Silva or Sterling is a false nine with interchanging with the wingers. And you think if you just add Haaland straight up top there, that's you sorted for the next 5-6 years. And Man City look close to winning the Champions League at the moment, I'd say. So to add Haaland to that, my God, they'd be a different beast. And that's quite terrifying. You look at Chelsea as well, there's talks of a Werner swap deal. I don't think he's really interested in that. Tuchel's seemingly building something very good there at the moment. And I don't know if Haaland would perfectly fit into his plans, but do you then make room for someone of that calibre? So if you look at, for me, those 3 Premier League clubs, I think in terms of financial and in terms of what it would also suit best, I think Man City is the obvious one, really.
You say about, I just want to jump in here, you say about the Glazers, and I'm by no means going to say, like, you know, I want them to stay. As everyone said, everything that you can say possibly about the ownership of the club. But when it comes to Jadon Sancho, everyone was distraught. I was distraught when we didn't sign him. You know, he's a great player. But I read someone the other day, and I agree with it. I think it could be really, like, clever of what they did. I know, I'm not saying, like, it was disappointment. It was. But his price now has dropped significantly. Massive amount. Yeah, I saw, like, everyone knows that Dortmund need to raise money. Their financial situation isn't great, and they need to offload players, and they've set price tags for certain players. And Jadon Sancho's price tag has dropped from quite a fair bit. Substantial amount of money has dropped of his, the amount he's worth. So could it have been just really clever work by United's board? I mean, they obviously said, well, look, we're not going to pay that amount of money. And to me, that's kind of good, showing that we have a backbone. For years, we were the club that kind of went, just set your price tag, we will pay it. We will pay it. But now we seem the sort of club that's not going to be bullied in negotiations. They said, we'll pay this. We said, no, we'll pay this. And I feel like that could be quite a positive going forward. Because clubs know they can't just demand ridiculous amounts of money. We're still going to pay a lot, but we're not going to be just saying, yeah, look, you write the check, we'll sign it.
It's an interesting point.
I think it works the other way, though.
Sorry. A bit of lag there. Sorry. You were talking. Sorry. You go, Kieran, you go.
I knew mine was bad as soon as it... No, I think it works the other way, though. You say about how the money is... Of having a backbone in negotiations. I also think it's just Dortmund said their price from the off, and they didn't change on it. And the bids and the negotiations sounded like they just got more and more insulting. And yeah, it could be a masterstroke of genius from the board that the following season or the season after his price is reduced. But I mean, that's the beauty of hindsight, isn't it? You probably could have guessed that a lot of players' prices would go down just because of the current climate we're in, but I don't think you take that risk in the moment where you're thinking of, let's not do it this time, let's do it next time when it's cheaper. I think that's just kind of how it's worked out. I just think that the negotiation-wise, it just needs to be more clear and better.
But we don't know it wasn't.
I think that's where it.
We don't know it. We don't know it wasn't clear. All we know is what papers say. And I know we're journalists, and we want to do this, but papers lie all the time. No one knows apart from the 2 clubs
that doesn't lie.
That were handling the deal, that actually went on. And we know that everyone knows that Dortmund said, this is the price tag you have until this date to get the deal done. But at the same time, United didn't budge. We said, look, we'll go ever so slightly higher, but we're not going to what you're asking. And to me, that kind of is a positive for me. And also, I know you said hindsight is a massive thing and we wouldn't have known this when it happened, but I can't see us talking about Haaland going to Manchester United if we're inside Sancho, because I don't think with the financial situation we'd have the money to do so. So if we do sign Haaland, I don't think if we looked back a year earlier and we had Sancho, we wouldn't have the funds to, do that move. So I think both, it was, obviously the ownership isn't great, but I think the backbone that we're kind of showing in the transfer market is good. I think we're proving that we're not just going to be, like I said, here's a check, sign it. But at the same time, I feel like the deal falling through, if we do sign Haaland, that is, could be a massive bonus if you look back on it, because I don't think we'd sign both players a year after each other.
Yeah, I don't think it was some sort of like mastermind decision from the Glazers to go, right, let's just wait and hope, Dortmund lose all this money and we can get him cheaper. But one thing I was thinking of, it's going to be interesting to see how Manchester United approach transfers now, and because obviously they've got people in charge of that department now. Darren Fletcher and I can't remember the other, John something, but he's in charge. He's in charge of the transfers, or he's in charge of the football side of things. But how much sway will they have? And do you think that will genuinely affect Manchester United transfer business in a positive way?
I like to think that it will actually have it, and that it's not just kind of a pretty face to sort of hide the issues. I don't want it just to be Woodward still in the background pulling the strings, and they're kind of just a face of the transfer deals going on. But, it'll be interesting to see, like you said. No one knows how that's going to work. United haven't had that before, as far as I'm aware. So it'll be an interesting one to see. But I think it can only be a positive. If it's still Woodward in the background pulling the strings, then nothing's changed. The only difference it can be is that he's got less of a pull over what's going on, and that the board are going to work as the new positions to get deals done. And like I said, I feel like this could be an interesting transfer window. If it isn't, then something's got to change, because United can't keep going the way it is. But Glazers, one of them was selling their shares the other day, and I know that money isn't going into the club, but it still means that they have less of a hold over the club going forward. So it's only a matter of time until I think the club does get sold. And I say a matter of time, it's still going to be several years. But, any step forward to getting them out is a positive in my mind.
Well, it should be interesting to see where Haaland ends up. I think it probably will be one of those three clubs. And maybe we can look back on this in a few years and say we were right.
From a future Ballon d'Or winner to a serial winner of that trophy and many, many more, we're going to talk about Lionel Messi. His future's been up in the air a lot recently. Will he leave? Will he stay at Barcelona? So, Nathan, where do you think he's actually going to go? A lot's been said. He nearly left in the summer. Do you think he'll leave this summer?
I don't know. Honestly, I don't know. It's become a lot more skewed because of the new president of Barcelona. I think his name's Laporta or something like that. But the other guy, Bartomeu, the guy who got arrested, they had a real problem, him and Messi. They did not get along. If he was still in charge now, and obviously he wouldn't be in charge if he got arrested, but if that hadn't happened, Messi, I would say it's pretty much conclusive that Messi will play for a different side come next year. But now with sort of Barcelona seemingly got at least a sort of idea of where they're moving on next, because Barcelona for years have been stuck in this weird limbo of bad transfer business and not really knowing how to move on from the glory days as such. And Messi has been the consistently good thing about Barcelona, but there's been so many bad things that it's still up in the air, because Barca, are they going to win the league this year? I'm not sure. I don't think they will. I think Atletico's to lose. And then that Man City connection is so strong, and Man City are the only club that can afford him aside from PSG, but I don't see him going PSG, to be honest. The Man City don't got that connection with Pep, where Messi did play his best football. And the idea of, the question, I don't think the question of can Messi do it in other leagues, I don't think it's a relevant question, because Messi's been doing it at the highest level for ages now. But I mean, if he ever feels like he needs to get that chip off his shoulder, go Man City, go to the current best team in England, and prove to everyone that you're the best. You're the best ever to the people that I don't already know. So it's an interesting one. I can see him going to Man City, but I think if Barcelona have a strong start to the summer window, then I could see him staying as well.
I think it's an interesting one, because for me, I've always thought that Barcelona is Messi. One goes with the other. It's kind of like the perfect duo, you know what I mean? And I feel like if Messi leaves, kind of Barcelona's identity, I know it's a massive statement to say their whole identity relies on one player, but it kind of does in my mind. Barcelona is Messi and Messi is Barcelona. So if Messi goes, where are Barcelona left? But at the same time, is that what, I know Messi has been their best player for a decade, for ages, but is that what they're waiting for? Do they need to kind of offload Messi to start a new chapter? Is that something that maybe they do need? Because like you said, they're kind of stuck in limbo. They're kind of like just going back and forth. They're not really improving. So maybe getting rid of Messi and getting rid of sort of that, like the one-star player, and kind of creating a new team with the new youth coming through. Maybe that's what they're actually begging for. And I know that'll be tough for Barcelona to take. And I imagine a lot of people listening right now will be going, what are you chatting? But, you see sometimes that maybe they do just need, and it's happened in the past, other teams, they need to get rid of that star player, the player that they've relied on for so long, to sort of get the other players to sort of wake up. Don't know what you think, Kieran.
Right, I think you're somewhat right about that. It's a good point in that sometimes a painful rebuild is what's necessary, and Messi, as bizarre as this sounds, could be the thing clamping that down. I still think that while you still can, you should build the team around him. I really do. I just think I think we all think, and we all know he's a special footballer, once in a generation kind of talent. I just think, and that last summer I think was probably the biggest test of him staying or leaving. I firmly see now that Messi could be at Barcelona till the end of his career, and if it's not till the end of his career, then you expect your sort of 1 or 2 seasons in the MLS or back in Argentina, or possibly in the Middle East. Joining up with the likes of Xavi, people like that. You can never be sure, but in terms of top 5 European leagues, I don't think he's going anywhere else other than Barcelona. It's just about what they do when that does happen and when the time comes that he does leave. Because, for the last few seasons, they've fallen at significant hurdles when it comes to European honours. And a lot of that is down to arguably the people behind Messi. You look at those ties against Roma and Liverpool, put themselves in a great position to go through, and then it was the complacency in the second leg that cost them ultimately. And so I just think now, in terms of his future, however many years he does have left, I can only see them being spent in Catalonia, really.
I agree that I do think the closest he got to ever leaving obviously was last summer. And I mean, I never thought he would leave. And when that happened, I was like, this is massive. But I feel like the rocky relationship he had, I don't think he's ever going to have that again. So I don't feel he's ever going to get that close to leaving on bad terms. Maybe, like you said, just going to the MLS. But I don't know. For me, it kind of just seems a bit strange. And I know that he is obviously one of the, if not the best player in the world. And he is obviously a massive part of Barcelona, like I've already said. But the presidential sort of election was massive around Messi. Everyone was saying, look, we're going to keep Messi. If I elect me, I'll keep Messi. Elect me if I'll keep Messi. Here, here, here. But is that what you want? Do you think it could be quite bad, Nathan, that, everything is revolving around Messi? The club has to have an identity outside of an individual player. If a club is just basing it on that, then is there issues?
I think it's what you said. Messi is Barcelona, Barcelona is Messi. I think that doesn't stem from any fault of Messi's or anything like that. I think it's the fault of just terrible recruitment, bad management. Barcelona should have gone for a rebuild before with Messi involved. But just because Messi's there doesn't mean you can't rebuild. A lot of Valverde's success at Barcelona, because he had actually not a bad time at Barcelona, domestically at least, was due to just kind of relying on Messi and not actually building much of a team. And they've been very haphazard with a lot of their signings. They've sort of brought players for the sake of buying them. It's like they want Wijnaldum. I get Koeman's in charge, who firstly, I don't think he should be in charge of Barcelona. I mean, he's doing all right, but I don't think Koeman is that standard manager. But, why they want Wijnaldum. It's like, how does this benefit Barcelona in any way, in any form of rebuild? I know they've got the likes of Ansu Fati coming through, but a lot has declined with their youth system as of late. Obviously, everyone knows about La Masia and how important that has been. But I think for a long time that they've been kind of drawn into the Real Madrid, as I was talking about earlier, the Real Madrid style of recruitment. This name's available. Let's get him. Instead of actually thinking about, right, we've had this glory days of the tiki-taka with Pep. Let's get a manager with an identity and let's get him behind it. Because the managers they're hiring, they don't have that identity. I think, it kind of fits there. And they have to be like former players. That's the only time where I can see Xavi getting in, and possibly then it starts working. If not, I think Barcelona need to rebuild from the top, and with this new president in charge, hopefully they can find that new identity and reinvent themselves with Messi. Because if you've got a great team and Messi, then that automatically puts you in the top 3 teams in the world. So they need to rebuild from not just on the pitch, but off the pitch as well.
I mean, you're on about a rebuild. What better way to rebuild then, getting, a player that's aging, then a player that's coming into its own, and Mbappe. I mean, he, to me, is the closest player to Messi. I know they're both, I'm not just saying this because they're both small with quick feet, but I mean, Haaland isn't like Messi. I feel like Mbappe's the closest sort of big-name youngster that's coming up that is close to Messi. So, Kieran, do you think that, I know he's been linked with Real Madrid, I can't see him going to Barcelona, but do you think he would be the ideal signing for them?
I think Mbappe would be the ideal signing for anyone, really. He's just got that talent. In terms of whether they'll do it, I think it's a questionable one, as has Barca's recruitment been a questionable one. They've signed 2 previous Frenchmen in Dembele and Griezmann, and they have not gone well at all. Those big price tags and things like that have heaped a lot of pressure on them. But you look at Mbappe, he starred on the European stage most recently, against Barcelona at the Camp Nou. So, I think he's a different level of player compared to Griezmann and Dembele, and signing him would be a huge statement. But then I'm not sure if you want to take that, not necessarily risk with it, but I think the focus needs to be elsewhere for Barcelona right now. They've got plenty of youngsters coming through in those positions as well. Ansu Fati, obviously injured at the moment, but a fantastic player. Pedri is coming into his own ever so slightly. There's a few, I think Trincao as well. I'm not perfectly clued in on my Barcelona youth players, but from what I know, there's a fair few good ones. So I think for them right now, the focus does need to be on building foundations from the back, because soon they're going to enter the phase of we're just here to outscore you. And you look at their previous European ties, they do concede a lot of goals. So I think that's kind of where the focus needs to be to begin with. But signing Mbappe, if they can do that and build, the foundations from the back, then my God, they'd be a different beast, including Messi as well, because he's someone who almost just doesn't seem in decline. Obviously he's probably not the quickest he is, but the dribbling ability and the quick feet and the football brain, that's not deteriorating. So I think the focus does first need to be on defending and what they can do there. You want someone like Puyol again, just someone who is just an absolute beast, a commander at the back. And then Messi can do his things that we could be talking about Barcelona back-to-back Champions Leagues again quite easily.
So moving on from Lionel Messi to someone that has followed him for his entire career in terms of being the best in the world, Cristiano Ronaldo, obviously currently at Juventus. It's expected that he will remain there. But I mean, they've just not been good this season. They're humiliating us to Benevento. They're struggling in the Champions League. Of course, he got knocked out by struggling Champions League. Got knocked out of the Champions League by Porto, which was one of the big shocks of the last few years. So, and this surely isn't what Ronaldo wants, Ollie. So, what do you think is going to happen next for Cristiano?
I mean, I know that it was announced this or last week, I think, or over the weekend, that he will remain at Juventus next season. Well, that's what the board want anyway. Obviously, Ronaldo hasn't necessarily said he's going to stay. I know he did tweet out saying that he's still got a lot left to win, so it does imply that he will remain there. But I just can't see him staying there and then retiring there or going back to Portugal or MLS to sort of retire. I can see him going to another big club. And I feel like that's definitely going to happen because I don't see him sort of winning as many trophies as he wants in his final big chance at Juventus. I mean, it's obviously not going well this season, and I can't see them winning the Champions League next season, and I can't see him wanting to retire until he gets another Champions League under his belt. So I think he's destined to return to either Real Madrid or Manchester United. I would say probably Real Madrid, more so than Manchester United, only because I feel like Ronaldo sort of relates Manchester United with Sir Alex Ferguson. And I feel like he's always said how Sir Alex Ferguson was kind of his father figure in football. He was the sort of person that helped him get to where he is now. And I know he thanks him a lot for his career. So, I mean, I can't see him returning to Manchester United without Ferguson in charge, which obviously he isn't. And he's not going to be. I mean, it'll be amazing if he does return. But, yeah, I just can't see him going back to United because I feel like Ferguson was the person that made United for him. So I don't think he would return. I mean, Zinedine Zidane's still at Real Madrid. currently. I mean, I know he leaves a lot and then he joins again. So, I mean, I can see him return to Real Madrid. I'd love for him to return to Manchester United as a player, as a fan. I mean, I'm not a player of Man United, but as a fan, I'd love for him to return. But like I said, I can't see him joining Manchester United, seeing as Ferguson is no longer there. But you never know. But one thing is for sure in my mind, he will not be at Juventus for many more years, maybe one more season. But I can't see him retiring there, and I can't see him leaving Juventus to go to sort of, you know, that sort of retiring stage of his career. I think he wants to go to one more club to win big.
It's interesting. I think it kind of depends. Obviously, if you might notice, guys, on the video, we have lost Kieran. The internet's got the better of him today. But it's interesting with Ronaldo. How long is he going to go? You know, how long is left in Ronaldo? And because I can't see him retiring in the next 5 years. So where does he?
Physically insane. I mean, I know we said about Messi how, you know, sort of he's not really losing it, like his football brain, maybe a bit of pace here and there, and the same can go for Ronaldo. But those two players just seem, you know, like they're controlling age. Age isn't getting the better of them. They must have some secret serum or something, but they just look both in amazing physical condition. And I think that is great for them, obviously, and it's great for football fans. But I mean, for the likes of Haaland and Mbappe, it just makes it harder for them to, you know, win the Ballon d'Or. They might not win until they're 30 because Ronaldo and Messi might keep going on to their 50 years of age or something, but they're in amazing physical form. So, yeah, I mean, like I said, I can see the two players going on for definitely 2, maybe 3, maybe even 4 more years, sort of in big Europe teams.
Yeah, I can't see Ronaldo. I think Ronaldo will end up in one of these sort of MLS, Middle East and kind of money moves, but I can't see him going back to Man United. I don't think Man United would pay his wages firstly, and they couldn't afford it. And I don't think the only other club is Real Madrid. I can't see him going PSG either. So I think if he is going to return anyway, he will return to Real Madrid. I can see him going back to Man United once he's made that money-making move in kind of one of them Didier Drogba, Thierry Henry type loan deals where he comes back and plays a few games in the FA Cup and goes on his way. But I can't see him going anywhere else but Real Madrid if he is to leave Juve. And I think he definitely will, especially if they don't move on from this kind of disaster they've had this season, and poor Andrea Pirlo, who kind of got thrusted into.
You say money, though, that is the issue from going back to Manchester United. I know that everyone sort of was like, Pogba cost loads of money. And then if you actually look at it, they actually made money off Pogba because of the sort of the shirt sales and stuff like that. The revenue they'd get for bringing Cristiano Ronaldo back to Manchester United would be huge. So if you think about it financially, it may be possible because of the money that you would make. They would sell so many shirts. So, I mean, I don't think the money would necessarily be an issue if you actually look at the sort of financial impact positively through like the set shirt sales and sort of, you know, the, what do you call it, when companies come, what's that called? I've completely
sponsorship.
Yeah, sponsorship, that's the word. I completely went blank. Sponsorship deals that they would get. So I mean, I don't know about that. I just think it's the fact of Sir Alex. I feel like I don't think you can return to a Manchester United that isn't got Sir Alex, you know, in charge. But talking about going to a retiring sort of team, I feel like I can't see him going to one of the obscure teams. I know China's kind of like not really the place to go currently. They had a massive situation there with like money and stuff. But MLS, I can see it happening. But I feel like because of his son I know plays for Juventus as well. I just feel like he's got to take into consideration his son's future as a footballer. So I can't see him doing one of those obscure moves away. Maybe the MLS, I know he can still play good football there. I can't see him going to one of the, when they go to like Qatar or something for money and stuff like that. I can't see him making one of those random moves abroad for money because of his son's future in the game. I feel like he'll prioritise that over money.
That's a good point, to be fair. Yeah, no, I don't know what his situation's like in terms of his son and stuff and how, whatever. But I know Ronaldo is very hard work. I could see him playing at a high level for the next 5-10 years. He probably will remain. It wouldn't be a move out of like footballing ability. I'm not good enough for this level anymore, so I'm going down to it would be purely financial. But he's going to make that money anyway because it's Cristiano Ronaldo. It's one of the biggest names in sport. So I mean, wherever he goes, people are going to be watching. And that wraps up the 1-2 Football podcast. Thanks for tuning in. As always, we are now available on all major podcast and social media platforms at either 1-2 Football or at 1-2 Football UK. And also take a look at our website 12football.com for all the latest written pieces from our growing list of contributors from around the world. We'll be back next week.